everyone, I am Poonam Mishra and I am along with my team members is making this video to give a brief about how a project such as construction of a factory is implemented. In this video, we are going to talk about work breakdown structure of construction of factory and the activities involved in this. We will also show you PERT chart, Gantt chart and resource allocation in the project. We are also going to talk about risk associated with the construction of factory and how we can tackle those risks. You will hear voices of following person during the video. Prachi Kakade, Pranjali Girde, Nilisa Soni and Pragati Vyas. Now let us see what it is to construct a factory. Construction of a factory is a very burdensome and backbreaking activity. It is a very elaborate process which require proper scheduling. Delay in work in one activity may result in extension of expected project length which will lead to increase in cost of the budget. At minimum, construction of a factory takes around 10 months if assuming everything to be optimistic and maximum 2 years. In our case, it is taking 13 months approximately for construction of our factory.
Now, let us move on to the work breakdown structure of construction of factory. A work breakdown structure in project management is a deliverable-oriented breakdown of a project into smaller components. A WBS is the key project deliverable that organizes the teamwork into manageable sections. The goal of the WBS is to make a large project more manageable. Breaking it down into smaller chunks means work can be done simultaneously by different team members, leading to better team productivity and easier project management overall. Now, the activities related to the construction of factory can be broadly described under the 5 heads, which are enabling works, excavation and steel, external work, internal work, and site cleanup. First one is enabling work, which means procedures to start the construction like purchase of land and taking temporary connection of electricity and water. In our case, the connection is taken from the Maharashtra State Electricity Distribution Company Limited. Now next one is excavation and steel. In excavation and steel, which basically involves foundations, floor leveling up to the plinth level and construction of pillars. Floor leveling and pillars go side by side in the project. Now next one is external work. The works which are basically related to the design of factory are known as external work. External work contains the temporary connection of electricity and boring, slab and concreting slab, brickwork and removal of support. Now the next one is internal work. As the name suggests, internal work are the work which is internal to the factory like fabricant work, internal wiring, plumbing and cabling, flooring, installation of machine and factory tiles, office internal, interior and factory fire safety, plastering of factory walls, high tension electricity, white putty and coloring of walls. Now the last one is site cleanup. After the completion of the work, extra material like sand, cement, concrete, binding wires, etc., which are left, are removed from the site. This is called as site cleanup.
For construction of factory, we go down through different activities which are flashing on the screen along with the days required for particular activity. First and foremost, we purchase a land for construction and further proceed for registry and licensing of a land. For the procedure of construction, we need the temporary connection of electricity and boring which is taken from MSADCL. Next, the execution part starts from here, excavating the land and leveling the land by digging out unwanted material. Pillars are built immediately after leveling. Temporary structure and electric pipe wiring is done for the support of slab. Slab is prepared after temporary structuring within 2 days, but 15 more days are required for strengthening the concrete with water. Next, brickwork is started by keeping gaps for the doors, windows and electricity fitting, followed by removal of support, which was previously given on number 8. If one wants to make another floor, then the pillars and floor leveling along with the external work is required to be repeated. Once the external work is done, the internal work comes in function. Activities like fitting of doors and windows, internal wiring, plumbing, inlet connection to boring, sewage, septic tank, flooring, cabling are all done simultaneously. Floor can be made of concrete using porta, stone and granite. Installation of machines is done followed by office interior and safety. Other activities like plastering of factory walls are carried out. High tension electricity is the major activity which is the permanent supply. The connection is taken from pole to the transformer, from transformer to the panel and finally from a panel to the machine. This is the major reason for delay of the project. White putty and coloring is the final part for finalizing the factory. Construction is finished by cleaning up the site by taking the waste material to a proper place which can be reused later.
Now let us see the Gantt chart, PERT chart and resource allocation. Gantt chart is a horizontal bar chart developed as a production control tool frequently used in project management. A Gantt chart provides a graphical illustration of a schedule that helps to plan, coordinate and track specific tasks in a project. A PERT chart is a project management tool used to schedule, organize and coordinate tasks within a project. PERT stands for Program Evaluation Review Technique, a methodology developed to manage the Polarized Submarine Missile Program. A similar methodology, the Critical Path Method (CPM), was developed for the project management in the private sector at about the same time. Now, what is resource allocation? We have limited resource which can be applied to multiple activities. Thus, resources allocated should be allocated in such a way that one particular resource is not allocated to two different activities at the same time. Neither any resource is kept idle for a long time. If any resource is idle for quite a long time, then it is applied to different project by the project manager. Now let us see the PERT chart, Gantt chart and resource allocation in MS Project. These are the resources which are applied, which we have for the project. Now let us see the Gantt chart. These are the task name written as that in work breakdown structure. These are the resource allocated to the following task. These are the preceders and these are the durations. Okay, now let us see the Gantt chart. We see that labor A is employed for 3 consecutive activities. The Gantt chart starts from here. Now we see that Gantt chart is applied here. Labor A is applied for 3 continuous activity. So we can see the when we point the bar, we can see the task name, how the task starts and how it finishes. That this applies for every other. This Gantt chart is on monthly basis and task is divided per week. This is the Gantt chart. Now let us see the network diagram. This is the network diagram. This is the network diagram for the entire project. This, okay. We can see that these are the work breakdown structure and these are the broad headings of work breakdown structure. The enabling work starts with purchase of land and registry licensing, which is followed by temporary connection of electricity and boring. Now we see foundation in the next line, which is parallel to excavation and steel erection, as foundations comes under excavation and steel erection. Now this diagram tells about what activities follows what activity and in what order. And here we can see that brickwork, with the finish of brickwork, we have 4 simultaneous activities which starts, and with flooring starts when brickwork and removal of support is done. So, and this pink line denotes critical path, whereas white activity shows non-critical activities. So this PERT charts ends with site cleanup.
Now, let us talk about some of the risks associated with the construction of factory and how can we minimize the risk of such contingencies. The greatest risk is if a worker meets with an accident or injury, which can be tackled by taking safety measures such as wearing helmets, proper boots, and other safety equipments required at construction site. The other risk is when there is shortage of laborers. Such events happen especially when the area of construction is an Naxalite area. Labor shortage can cause any project to delay. Thus, it is very important to deal with this contingency before the start of project by employing few extra workers by paying extra money. Another risk associated with construction of factory is unexpected increase in material cost, which can be taken care if materials are purchased beforehand. This risk needs expertise knowledge as purchasing materials beforehand may also prove to be disadvantageous if materials price fall in future. Damage or theft of equipment and tools is common at construction sites. Thus, proper surveillance is required. Accountability of team members is important to minimize this risk. Again, natural disaster is a great risk which cannot be avoided completely, but steps can be taken to minimize the effect of such disaster. Ratan Tata constructed a steel plant at Jamshedpur despite knowing the fact that it is prone to earthquakes. The area mostly have earthquake of Richter scale 6 to 7. The steel plant could tackle the earthquake up to Richter scale 8, thus minimizing the risk of natural disaster of construction site. Apart from these, there are various other risks associated with the construction of factory which needs to be dealt with throughout the life of project. Risk management is important to save cost or time or both. This is all from our side. Hope you like this video. Please share, like, subscribe and comment. Thank you.